In this demo, I'm going to discuss how to use a pivot table to then create a visual graph to visualize the information that's being represented in the pivot table. So from here, we have our pivot table open. From our previous video, I showed you how to create calculated fields such that you've recreated calculations from your flat data sheet into each of the columns here that are also then where the rows are then all collapsed into themes. In this case, December, October, and September, um, versus, just as an example, versus the by deployment detail here. So from this view, we're going to go ahead and click anywhere inside the pivot table. Doesn't matter for now. And then on the top bar here, we're going to hit Charts. And then for this example, because we may just look at open rate, we're just going to click Columns. So clustered columns is totally fine. So you'll see here that you've now been defaulted into a specific view here that's showing you lots of different elements here. It's pulling in order value, it's pulling in open rate, it's pulling in open rate. Of course, this is completely skewed because it's all these are percentages, and this is a giant dollar value that's smushing all the other values down. So because we want to just be looking at open rate, and just open rate for this example, once we're inside of here, once you're inside of this area, you'll see that you have a lot of different areas highlighted. So for one, what you always want to do is remove the grand total line. So you're always going to squish it up such that now you only have, you'll see what happens here when you pull it down, you'll have a fourth column that's grand total, which you don't want. You want to just isolate the rows that you're looking at, that you're observing. Right? So from here, we know that we only want to look at open rate. So you're going to see how your mouse turns into this resizing tool. What you're going to want to then do is drag this left to here so that you're only looking at open rate. You'll see that your graph should have updated to now show open rate only. So now it only should show 23, 21, and 14 respectively. But from here, you'll want to rename this. You always want to rename your charts. Let's call this open rate by month, right? Because that's what's being showed here, and you want to label them. So let's say you want to label them. So you're going to right-click the columns, each of the bars, and you're going to add data labels. And you'll see that now you should see what's showing here should be what's reflected. What's reflected here should be what's showing in the pivot table. 23, 21, 14. 23, 21, 14. You see that. Oftentimes the text will be really small, so you'll want to click on your data labels as such. Go to Home, and then simply hit the increase font size button. No need to mess with the numbers. You can literally just hit increase. And this is particularly good if everything is a different size and you want to generally just increase the size of everything. You increase that here. Right? As large as you want. You can also here. You can also change the layout of how this appears. From up here, from within chart layout, you can change where the data labels appear. You can change where the legend appears, so the legend is here on the right. You may want to have the legend show at the bottom, which is not uncommon, so that everything is nice evenly spread out. You can also always change the names as they appear in the pivot table, like I'm doing here. And it should change the name here to open rate. And we can increase that too. Everything can have its size increased. Let's say for this example now, so from here, which you can do, is our next example will increase this to two variables. So let's, from within here, we're going to click the border, we're going to hit copy. Hold on a second. Alright, so from here, we're going to hit copy. And then over here, we're going to click in the white space. Important you click to the white space, and that we then, let's move this over for a moment. We'll move this down below. We'll move this over for screen space here. All right. So let's say we want to include both open rate and click to open rate. in this chart because we want to look at both side by month. So what you're going to do is you're going to click into the chart as such, click inside anywhere, and then you're going to take this here. You're going to take your mouse and you're going to click back into the pivot table and you're going to pull it over to the right to include open rate. Right? So now you'll see both by month. So you'll see in December, now you can also start to draw relationships. It looks like in December, we were better at getting people to open the email, less effective at getting people to click, but vice versa in the following months. Looks like our click rate is actually decreasing over time, but we're actually able to sustain a steady click-through rate. And this is a click-to-open rate, so this is only the people who clicked. This is just clicks of the people that opened the email, not of total deployments. So from here, we want it to look the same. So we want to right-click, add our data labels, and then we see that here that this is size 16, so we want to make sure that these labels are all the same size, so make this 16 as well. Okay. So we have this number as well. Right? Copy pasting is a very efficient thing for you to do because it will retain all the formatting that you've been using. Right? So let's copy. We can hit this copy again. Move this down. Let's paste again. All right. For in here, let's say we want to just look at average order value here. We click back into the chart, and you can literally hover over the edges of the highlighted area until you see the small white hand. Then all you have to do is pull it over, click and pull over, and then we want to grab this, only look at average order value. And you'll see now that your chart has changed to just reflect average order value by month. Right? And from here, let's say you wanted to change it from bars to lines, you can simply go to chart, go to charts, click line, just click line, and it should change. So if you want to show a line relationship, that's totally fine too. You can always undo that, don't be scared, or redo it depending on how you want, and there's lots of preset functions on how you may want this to look. That concludes this demo.